Hi everyone, and welcome back to a SENCO chat where we're going to be talking today about
making the best use of your email system to help you stay organised and on top of things.
There you go. Simples.
Bit boring, really, to be honest.
It's not boring. No, it's not boring. It will save you a lot of time. Again, you know, all these time-saving ones that we're doing in March are going to be absolutely epic for you.
And you'll have to excuse me because I operate inbox zero, so most of my emails I have actually dealt with, but what I've done is I've kept all of my junk emails are kind of sitting there so that I can show you what I actually do with things. So you're going to be working my junk emails today.
Nice. Junk day.
Junk day.
So before we do any of that, I would like to say well done to Abigail.
Well, what have I done?
Abigail has lost a load of weight, so well done to her for being absolutely a superstar and coming down on the weight. She's lost 3.5 stone, people. 3.5 stone.
I'll let you into my secret later.
Yep, if you watch to the end of this video, you'll see Abigail's secret. So the other thing that we did is we went to the dyslexia show, which was pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. We won't talk about that much today because we've got loads of other stuff to do and catch up on. So we'll talk about that next week.
And we have only just got back and we're still processing.
Yeah, we're still processing stuff. Yeah. So, you know, watch this video, get your emails sorted out, save yourself some time, and, you know, I'm just going to disappear again.
Okay, so we are currently looking at my emails. They do look quite scary. Fortunately, I only have one line showing, so even if it is something private to me, you're not going to be able to read very much about it, apart from "Hi Abigail," usually. I'm actually open on what we call all accounts. So you can actually see I have multiple email accounts. They are all down the left-hand side here. These ones with a little red flag next to them, I'm actually not signed into at the moment. You will have heard me say before that I operate inbox zero. We have been away for a couple of days, so it isn't quite zero at the moment. So I've got, these are all emails that have come in this morning, and it is currently 6 minutes past 10, so, and it's a Sunday. Thanks for that, people sending me emails on a Sunday. I had a couple of emails come through yesterday. To be fair, I did actually archive some yesterday. And then I've got a couple from last week and the previous week that I have kept for a particular reason. So I say I operate inbox zero. It pretty much is inbox zero, but if there is something that I desperately need to keep for a particular reason, it will be sat at the side. We can also see, though, at the top of my screen is some of these are purple and this particular one is highlighted yellow. The purple ones are the ones that I have pinned. So pinning means put this, whatever date it came in, it doesn't matter, let's just borrow this top one, grab a hold of it, I'm going to pin it to the top of my emails here. And that just reminds you, so every time you open your emails up, it's going to go to the top of that. I really don't think I want be online learning, so I'm just going to archive it while I'm there. I might as well click that one, get rid of it, and archive that one. The other one, the yellow one, is because it is flagged. So flagging, if I flag that admin request there, just kind of highlights it. It says this is important, you want to do something with it. There are options when you flag it. If you click here, I can choose to flag it to do something with it today, tomorrow, this week, next week, no date on it, choose a date on it, or clear the flag entirely. It's just a way of sequencing that information. The one I find most useful, though, so if I just borrow Costa Coffee again, though, I don't really want to deal with that today. It's not something I'm interested in. It's a Sunday, it's raining, I ain't going out of the house, you can forget that. But I do want to be reminded about my Costa Coffee free offer, because it sounds like there's an offer on there for me. There's a little snooze button. Now, I have got my menu bar set up. These are my 4 icons I've chosen. I'll show you where you can find those on a Mac in a moment. I don't know where to find them on Windows, but they'll be in settings somewhere. This little clock allows me to snooze it. So I can say, yeah, I don't want to deal with that right now. I've read it, and if you're anything like me, you read an email and then you forget that you've actually not done something with it. So I do need to be reminded, I need to act on it. So I can snooze it to later today, this evening, so pretty reasonable. Later today, if I click it at 8 o'clock in the morning, brings it back at about 11 o'clock. So it's about 3 hours ahead from now. I can do it for next week. And in this case, it picks up next week, Monday morning at 8 a.m. Or I can choose a date. So actually, I can't do anything with that till Wednesday. So I'm going to choose Wednesday. And I quite like it to come back to me at about 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning. So that's now Snooze Day. It's taken it out of my list. It's taken it away from my stress levels. If I do want to find it, I can find it in this bit on the left-hand side here that says snoozed, and I can go there and I can go and hunt for Costa Coffee. There it is, it's lurking there. But it's just a really simple way of getting rid of some of those things that kind of cause me stress when I'm looking at an inbox that's got, well, 12 emails in it at the moment. Now, most of you have got really good over the last couple of months, maybe a year or so, at putting on your automatic replies. I think because we've been talking about it so much, we've seen more and more SENCOs starting to use it. It was quite interesting when we first set up the newsletter, and Gavin sends it out on whatever day he sends it out, because it used to go monthly and now it goes weekly. He was sending them out, and we perhaps only get 2 or 3 automatic replies from people, even during school holidays. Now he can send it out even during midweek, mid-term, and we're getting 20 or 30 of those. And when it's the holidays, we're getting 60, 70 of them, which really indicates that people are actually starting to use this more regularly. So I've got mine turned on at the moment. I can go up there and I can click it. I will show you from there what I have. So yeah, this is my OU study, so I'm an OU student at the moment. And I have one that just says, I'm sorry, I'm away from my desk for a few days. I'll get back to you when I return. You can send something different if it's coming from somebody outside of your organisation. So if this was coming an email that came from somebody who's not from ou.ac.uk, which is the Open University address, I could send them a different response. You can also set it to only send during a certain time period. So if you knew, like we did, we were going to the dyslexia show, Gavin set his up to go from Thursday morning through to Monday morning, so that he's kind of got that clear block where he's just going to be sending out that message that says, I'm not available at the moment. If I'm honest, I actually have mine turned on. See, I've got mine that says I'm at the dyslexia show. I have mine turned on pretty much all of the time. And the reason for that is, just because I'm sat at my desk doesn't necessarily mean that I can respond to somebody. So just by saying, I'm sorry, I'm not at my desk today, I'll respond to you as soon as I can, people get that kind of message that, oh, I can't just drop everything straight away to do something for you. I'm not there. I'll pick it up when I've got a bit of time. And I do have my emails on my phone, my iPad, all the rest of it, but that doesn't mean I feel pressured to respond to somebody just because they've sent me an email. I know they've already had a response from me. It's fulfilled their psychological need to be acknowledged, and I can get back to them when I'm ready to do it. If I go up to my Outlook settings, this is where I can come in and I can change some of those bits and pieces. So I've clicked on the general, that's all to do with what you can see. If I'd have clicked this roomy one here, you would actually see more of the information that my people were sending me. So I've actually gone for compact and densified it, densified it down. There you go, another new word from me. I've densified it down so that you can only see that first line. If you've got people who look over your shoulder a lot, if you're working in a shared office, it can also be quite useful there as well. On profiles is pretty much an Apple type thing, so it's to do with when you are working, what kind of responses you want, what kind of colours you want from it. Do you just want it to sit into certain features? So I won't talk about that because it's, like I say, it's Mac specific. Accounts is where you've got your different email addresses, and for most of you, you'll only have one email address sitting in there. Notifications and sounds, so I don't know if you know, but you can actually get it to ping up on the top right hand side of the screen. So you might be working a Word document or a PowerPoint, or working on the hub, filling something in for an EHCP, and it can ping up onto the screen and give you a short overview of what that email is that it is sent to you. And if you're teaching, it's not a good idea to have that one turned on, to be fair. Yeah, so that's to do with your notification sounds. If you don't want it on, click this one, display an alert on my desktop, and it won't do that. Categories allows you to sort things. Generally speaking, they are the same categories that you use for your calendar. So I colour code my calendar. I'll show you my calendar in a moment. And I colour code my SENCO Solutions calendar, which is my main account, using the ones that you can see on the screen here. So I've got 2 shades of purple going on here for Sensible SENCO and SENCO Solutions, but it just makes it really clear. I can see what's going on. So as a SENCO, I probably would have done this as teaching. So on my calendar, I would have had my teaching commitments, and actually, to be fair, I used to colour code those separately. So if I was teaching English, it was coloured yellow. If I was teaching maths, it was coloured blue. But anywhere where I'd got a meeting, I tended to use that black or the grey colours because, you know, they were a bit dismal. I didn't really want to do them. So they were in there, but I could see where I'd got those meetings coming up. And then I also shade anything that gets cancelled in grey. So I know that you can delete it from your calendar, but actually it's really important to me, and as a SENCO as well, to show where things were cancelled because I've planned for them. I'm expecting that to happen, and that's why I'm not doing something else. Therefore, I need to show what the cancelled things were in my calendar as well. I have different ones for different categories. You can change your fonts, so for your new emails, whatever else. Aptos is the new Microsoft font. So it's very much like your Calibri, which was their preferred font. Aptos is now their new preferred font, but unlike Calibri, which has the straight L, which looks like a capital I, it actually has a flick on the bottom of the L, so it looks like a lowercase L with the curl at the bottom. It is slightly friendlier on the eyes. I am actually quite enjoying it, and I have moved across to using Aptos in all of my presentations and on my Word documents and everything else as well. And my emails, obviously. Autocorrect is autocorrect. I'm sure you know how to use that in spelling and grammar. In terms of emails, you know, the reading of it, do you want it to show your message preview? Do you want it to show any group headers or sender images, that kind of thing? Of course, I use this on a phone, left swipe and right swipe. So a left swipe will archive things for me and a right swipe will delete them. Down at the bottom here, there is that one that I was talking about with the quick actions. You can't have very many of them on there, but my preferences are archive. I only ever archive, I don't delete. It's probably one of those things from a SENCO perspective. GDPR, yes, so if you have a subject access request, you're not supposed to delete information about students, remember. You're supposed to be keeping it because it's a record against them. So if you're archiving it and you get a GDPR request and you do a search for that child's name within your emails, it will actually pull them up. So you have still got that information, you haven't deleted it. And then mark as read or unread. Actually, I prefer to right click and then select that one if necessary. Sort messages into focused and other. It's using a little bit of AI actually when it does this, and it tries to predict which ones you want to focus on. And I used to use this diligently for probably about 3 or 4 years, and I found that I started missing new information. As a SENCO, I think it would be quite scary for me to use focused and other now, because it would focus on the ones that it thinks is important, and actually the ones that are coming in that you've not corresponded with are probably the ones that are more important that you need to focus on and get in there. I do nestle mine by conversation. The string of conversation with people, I actually get it to stick it into one thread. So the most recent email sits at the top of it, and the most ancient email sits at the bottom, and that means it's not in there as separate emails that you've got to go and look for. And that's really useful if you've got an email chain going on with somebody and you're talking about something from 6 weeks ago and you're thinking, oh my goodness, what was that conversation we were having? Composing is basically just, you know, how do you want to do it? How do you want to reply to things? I do show my BCC and CC fields by default. Interestingly, BCC is blind carbon copy if you're not sure, and CC is carbon copy. So CC will show everybody else that you are emailing the email addresses of the people you have just emailed. Really, really dangerous. I use BCC as my preference. So even if I'm sending something to 10 people and they all know each other, generally speaking, I will use BCC anyway, just in case, because I don't necessarily want all of those people to know that it's been shared with each other or whatever else. But yeah, make sure you know those, make sure you're using those, and do you want to be copied into it? I don't bother copying myself in, if I'm honest. I don't CC or BCC myself into it because it's in my sent items. Signatures was the next one. Most people have got their signatures turned on. Signature doesn't look very good when you look at it like that, so click your edit. You can come in, it looks like a Word document when you go into it. You can insert tables into it. You can create your signature. Most of you will have a school preferred template that you are supposed to use, so that is what you should really be putting at the bottom of your emails, and this one's just mine that I use most of the time. But you can set up different signatures. So if you, for example, when we were working with Finetti, just to give you an example, it's my main signature, but then we had the Finetti logo down at the bottom to remind everybody about the Read Aloud challenge that was going on. So if you set up your signatures on your laptop, your PC, but you also have your emails on your phone, you do need to set the same signature up on your phone as well. That is one where I would send myself an email from the one where I have set it up, and then copy and paste when I'm on my phone that thing into those settings on my phone as well. It's a bit of a pain though, it really is annoying. So again, if I go back to being a SENCO again, maybe I want different signatures at the bottom, so different ways of signing off for professional conversations and those that I'm perhaps having with parents and those that I'm having with staff in school. And not on this one, but on my United Learning one. Oh, it's not on this one because it's on my PC. Don't use my laptop for United Learning. There you go. There's an example of the signature being different. On my United Learning one on my PC, it actually states my working hours. So it has that sentence that says, I only work Monday to Wednesday, and it may take me some time to reply to this, and just because I reply at strange times, I do not expect you to read it at strange times. They're quite important for mental health and well-being. You can include your booking link on there. Rules is really useful. So this one's probably going to tell me I haven't got any. Oh no, it has. Rules is telling the computer what to do when an email comes in. So I'm just going to come out of the settings for a second, and if I go to my SENCO Solutions account, if you look here, you can see the inbox only has 11 emails in it. My junk mail has 4. This one that's called AI News has got 40, banking 9, computer admin another 40, OU conversations 5, social media 2. So what this is actually doing is there is a rule set up that if any emails come from certain email addresses, it automatically puts them into this folder. I haven't read any of these. This is how I deal with junk mail. So I know that I may need some information in this at some point. Maybe I want to know about TikTok videos and how to use AI with them. Maybe I want to know about, Elon Musk's latest plan to take over the world. One example might be that when you are on a school holiday and you're not a member of SLT and emails are coming in, you can actually get it to forward it to a member of SLT so that they can deal with it. Or you, as the SENCO, you have everything coming in from every professional, but actually the speech and language ones, you have a TA that deals with most of those and does a bit of triage on it, but you still want to be informed about it. So it still comes to your email address, but you can have it auto forward those emails to somebody else. So they're really easy to set up. You kind of just click new rule, you give your rule a name, you select a condition, so what is the thing that is going to trigger this to happen, and then you tell it what you want it to do. So do you want it to move it somewhere, copy it to somewhere? Do you want it to delete it? I don't like delete. Do you want it to just mark it with an importance or categorize it? Do you want to forward it to somewhere, forward it as an attachment, redirect it? And you can add additional bits in there as well, and you can also add exceptions. So when it says select an action, if I just select copy to, it will also ask me, do I wish to add another action as well? So I find rules really useful. You can see I have quite a few of them. Actually, why don't I just set a rule up for the SENCO forum? So Outlook, hold on a minute. I can right click it and I can go rules, create a rule. So for all messages from SENCO forum, so I'm just actually going to change that to that one. So if it comes from SENCO forum, don't really care who it goes to be honest, doesn't matter which one of my emails. If the subject includes, no, I don't want that, I just want all of them. I actually want you to mark it as read and move it to, I want to create a new folder, I'm going to put forum conversations, save, and no, that's probably it. Stop processing more rules, click save. There we go. I'm actually just click play on it as well. I have a lot of SENCO forum conversations. Oh, look, you saw that disappear. That was amazing. So it's disappeared. And if I go over to this side here, there is now so if I click forum conversations there, that's where that email has just gone to. Of course, I told it to mark it as red, so it's not going to have the purple blob at the side of it if you wanted to be aware that they were in there. But what I was trying to say earlier is if I go right to the top and I go to all of my accounts, and if I type in history of need, because I've suddenly got this question about history of need, and I do that, I get a whole load of history of need emails I've got somewhere at some point, but that top one just happens to be that one from the SENCO forum, even though it's been filtered off into a folder. I have an email address that I use for when I'm signing up to something where I'm not really sure that I want it, or where I don't actually really want to share my email address with them. Now, if you're using Apple products, if you're on your Apple iPhone, you can do that through your Apple account. You can actually hide the email address and it will still forward it to your correct email address that you registered with Apple. Yeah, I am on a Mac, so I could use that feature, but of course it then doesn't transfer when I'm working on other systems. So I have a kind of junk email address, I call it, and then it forwards it into, because I have a rule set up, it forwards it into my normal account. You can also sort out how do you want to deal with junk emails. So if you know you've got somebody coming through that is driving you absolutely insane, and let's face it, we all end up on a junk mail list at some point, you can actually add them in there and it blocks those domains and it blocks those senders. If you realise that you've done it by mistake, you can actually click them and click the minus button, and you can manually add them as well. So if your IT team says, oh, the head teacher received an email from such and such, you can block it in advance, which is also really useful. I'm not going to go through calendar and my day and privacy and search, etc., because they're kind of not really email type settings. But I am just going to show you my calendar, because like I said, I do actually color code my calendar. My calendar doesn't look as scary as it usually does because I'm not logged into a couple of my accounts, and of course it will only show you the accounts that you're logged into. The colors are just really useful for me because it says these are things that I'm doing from somewhere else. This is what's happening for this particular purpose. This is a quite important appointment that I need to go to. Just really quick and simple, and you can see I've got my university study time on there as well. You can add additional calendars, so Gavin has a calendar, and of course if I stick his on there, unfortunately I've got him coloured green for some reason. Let me just change his colour. Gavin, you're going to be grey for the week, so I can change Gavin's colour to grey, and I can see what he's up to as well. So you could add your colleagues in there, so if you want to know where I don't know, Flo the TA is today, you can go and find out where Flo the TA is at 11 o'clock on a Monday morning by creating a calendar. The other thing I've got lurking on here, which I kind of wanted to say, is I have a favourites section. So you'll notice I usually keep these all closed down at the bottom. I don't see what's going on in them. I use the all accounts one because it doesn't matter which email address it goes into. But certain things are more important to me than others. So that AI one doesn't appear up here. But anything that comes from Gavin is set up as a rule. And it's set up as a rule in this one down here. So it's the from Gavin, and the star button at the side, I've clicked it. So what that means is it moves it into this favourite section up here. So whenever Gavin sends me an email, it's not just going to appear in this bit here, but I've then got to scroll through 13 of them to find it. I can actually say, oh, there's a number 1 next to Gavin. I've got an email there that I need to deal with. And I do the same for any of the ones that I find really, really important. The other one, just to kind of finish this off a little bit, is if I go to send an email, so Gavin's going to get an email from me, sorry Gavin, I'm going to put hello, it's Sunday, actually I'm going to put hello, it's Monday, you'll see why in a moment, and I can type some nonsense down here, You can see actually that Gavin is sending an automatic reply there. It does usually pop up when somebody is doing that. But when it comes to sending this, maybe I don't want to send it straight away. So remember what I said about some schools having those policies that you shouldn't send them outside working hours. So I shouldn't be sending something on a Sunday. You can actually schedule the send. So schedule send. And I can say, actually, I'm going to send it to him tomorrow at 7:30, hence, hello, it's Monday, and I can click OK. Now, what happens there is it will stay in your drafts. So it hasn't sent it hasn't gone to my sent items are here. It hasn't gone there, it will stay in my drafts. But what you can see at the top is this message is scheduled to be sent at and the time and the date. You can cancel it, or you can go in and you can edit it. So if you start an email and then you realize, actually, it's not Monday, I'm going to send it on Tuesday, you could go back in, you can edit it and change that information. Again, really, really useful for managing expectations. If when you are sending an email, you can actually cancel your sent message for a time period. So you can actually tell it to wait to send it for up to 20 seconds. Now this is amazing for me because I am notorious for going, please find attached the file that you have requested. Hit send. And forget to attach the file. And the moment I hit the send button, I'm sure I have some kind of motor memory going on here. I have to do this. The moment I hit the send button, I realise, oh flip, I forgot to attach the file. To be fair, I don't know why it's not turned on this computer, because it is turned on my other computer. So it looks like it's going to be a device setting again, so just make sure that you change it on all devices if you use multiple devices. We've got plenty of information now about managing your emails, and you know, for me, I think emails was the one that used to stress me the most, because it was constantly there. And if you like to, like I say, we've just been away at the Dyslexia Show for 2 days, the Friday and Saturday, but we actually left on Thursday lunchtime. So that's a day and a half of working school time. If I'd have done that as a SENCO, I know that I would have come back to perhaps 30, 40, 50 emails. And then I would have spent the whole of my weekend thinking, oh, I've got to reply to all of those because people are expecting a response from me. One thing that perhaps people are not aware of, actually, and I kind of forgot about it because I don't use it very often, but I know that Gavin does. If I go to send a new email here, and then if I click my 3 little dots at the top, there is an option there for my templates, and if I click that, I can actually open up some templates. Now I've got 2 that I've just pulled across from somewhere else just to use as an example. So if I click this one, it will simply insert it into that message for me. So that is a really, really quick way of responding if it's a generic response that you need to send to someone. Of course, it doesn't have to be a generic response, because I can go in, I can edit various bits and pieces of it to make it personalised to whatever that context is. But it's something else that just helps you save a lot of time. He's back.
Magic. So, a whistle-stop tour of a Microsoft email system and how to save yourself time as a SENCO. And I think there's 6 points there that you can kind of very quickly go through.
Flag, pin, snooze, rules, delayed send, and templates.
6 points there. See, I was right. I can count.
I had to take socks off.
Go and use those 6 tips to be able to kind of save some time as a SENCO. And get your reply sorted. And the last one with templates is really, really good for your consistency as well, in replying to parents and pieces like that. Yeah, okay, we can book this meeting. And you can put the booking link meeting, as Abigail had on that one there, within that for either motion or for bookings, yeah. Which we've done previously. And we'll leave the link up in Abigail's top corner there. Abigail's secret. She's got a secret, people. I don't know whether she wants to tell the secret, though. That's the question. Do you want to tell everybody your secret to weight loss that you have discovered?
Probably not. So there is a bit of history to this, actually. So even before I met Gavin, people used to ask me what I did before I went into teaching, and my answer is I used to work in a drugs factory.
She did used to work in a drugs factory, people.
So I used to work in a warehouse that actually sent out drugs to veterinary practices. And because I have a science background, I was actually there. I did a lot of their health and safety stuff, and I gave advice on, you don't want to drop the fentanyl on your fingers or anything like that. So my background has a little bit of a drugs history in there, but I just say I used to work with drugs. So that usually gets a few raised eyebrows. When people have been asking me how I've lost weight, just ask me how I've lost weight.
How have you lost weight?
Drugs.
Drugs.
So I am somebody who was incredibly slim until I had my first child.
Sorry.
I know. And then I piled the weight on and I couldn't get it off, and I've had 4 children and I just piled up and up and up and up and up, and it doesn't matter what diet I try and it doesn't matter what exercise I do, I just do not lose that weight. I think you can confirm that.
Yeah.
I can starve myself and I can go to the gym I did that one summer. I went every single day in the summer for 2 or 3 hours a day, and I lost nothing. And it didn't even change my shape and make me feel any fitter either. It just cost me a lot of money. So I have had to go down the medical route, and well, everybody knows I quite like new technology. I kind of went down the new medicine route, and I started off with a drug called Saxenda, which you can get prescribed via a online pharmacist. So somewhere like Lloyd's Pharmacy will do it, and Asda's Pharmacy also do it as well. Or your GP may be able to do one for you. I started off with that one, and then I moved on to one called Wegovy once it came over into the UK. Both of them have been successful for me. Saxenda, you have to jab yourself every day. Wegovy, I only have to jab myself once a week, or at the moment once every 10 days, because that's all I actually need. And it completely reduces your appetite, and it has been amazing because just like anything else in life, I needed to see a result, and within the first 10 days of using it, I could see the weight dropping off. Yes, I've had some plateaus. I think the last fortnight I've kind of been because I just needed that last 2 pounds to go to drop below my next stonage, you get a couple of plateaus, but it has worked for me.
Yeah, and the side effects have been minimal.
The side effects are a bit weird. So one of them is that you have no appetite. So I'm lucky if I can eat a Happy Meal from McDonald's. So a chicken nugget Happy Meal, I can probably eat the 4 chicken nuggets, but I cannot get through the fries, and it's only a small fries. And I must make sure I don't drink the water first. I am quite thirsty most of the time, but then again, I usually am quite thirsty anyway. Yeah. So you do tend to end up filling yourself up on a bit of water, and it can make you feel quite sick. So you can feel nauseous, especially when you move up a dosage. But that said, there are other things that make you feel sick. It is just a feeling of feel sick. I've not actually been sick with it. I've been sick for other reasons. But it has, those side effects for me are minimal compared to the impact that it's actually had. Not that I'm promoting anybody goes and loses weight by jabbing themselves with needles and taking drugs, but if you are struggling, that was my solution.
Yeah, if you are struggling, there's something else out there rather than all these other diets that are there. The worst side effect of all this is, though, because Abigail doesn't eat half her dinner, she then passes it to me, and now I'm putting on weight.
Sorry, Dave.
I know, but,
he loses it, though.
I can lose it quite quickly, so it's not too bad. A high metabolic rate.
Which is what I had until I had the kids. Yeah. Just to caveat this, though, I do have... one of the reasons I probably gain weight and I don't lose it is that my thyroid doesn't work. So I have hyperthyroidism. And even though I take medication for that, the weight gain is still actually there. So there is a reason for my weight gain, but... Yeah, it doesn't help that I could probably eat I used to be able to eat a whole pack of Jaffa cakes without batting an eyelid and not even realise I'd ate the whole pack.
Jaffa cakes. I like Jaffa cakes.
So do I. Half moon, whole moon.
Anyway, people, I hope you've enjoyed that fascinating tidbit into Abigail's personal life. Okay, so next week we're going to be doing time-efficient meetings, how to schedule an agenda.
How to create an agenda that gets through everything, and how to gather the information beforehand so that, some of those conversations that have been repeated 16 times that you really don't want to hear again, you've already got the information for it, so we can go straight to what we need to talk about in the meeting.
But do make sure that if you are giving parents documents, that you do photocopy every page. Conversation from Susie Nyman. Thank you, Susie, for that conversation.
Not every other page, which is a hilarious conversation. We'll share that one.
We'll share that one. We'll share that at the end of the next one. Okay, so everybody, we hope to see you next week. And we hope you've enjoyed this session. So, bye-bye.
Take care.
So, next week we're going to be talking about...
I don't know. What are we talking about next week?
I don't know, we're still doing the tech tip ones.
I don't know. What was the next tech tip?
Next tech...
Tick tap. Talk tip. TikTok. 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 TikTok.
So I think that was a really, really good whistle stop. She's bitter cheek. So, yeah. You probably didn't notice that. I might have edited it out, but she has bitter cheek.